have you had? I mean, I guess we'll sort of get into the album in a bit, but have you had many chances to do some shows at all over this period of time, or?
I saw the OCs in New York in September, and it was fucking unreal. It was amazing.
Yeah,
I like a lot of pin up energy in the crowd. It was one of the like the funnest shows I've been to. Like I probably in ever. It'll stand out for sure. Due to the climate that we've all been in. Like there's power. I mean, the OCs are already nothing but power, but like
yeah.
fuck, people were over the top. It was great.
I mean, there must have been a real hunger to see live music again, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And a band like that, like the energy was high. People were definitely hungry for that. So yeah, I mean that's great. I got to see them. Saw my buddies Monarch and a fellow Australian Czechs Chamberlain play in Los Angeles a little over a month ago. That was nice. That was fucking great. It's just great to see music of any kind. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Earthless. I mean, obviously you are a live band. That's what you kind of are known for, and that must be really frustrating to not be able to do what you guys really love. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, this is what we've always done, for I guess if you want to call it like our work or whatever,
Mm.
it's music has been our thing, both as Earthless and outside of Earthless. It's just not this music has been our lives. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been rough, but I think it's getting better. I mean, there's changes with kind of back to what we're used to, and so slowly and surely, but it feels like it is improving, and hopefully there's festival dates this year and a lot of stuff in Europe. So I really hope that it all pans out. I mean, if it doesn't pan out, then I think it's gonna, I guess the collective musical or just art world is gonna feel gutted, a little bit,
Mm.
because it's like, oh shit, 2022 and all this stuff's still getting canceled.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
definitely. Well, fingers crossed. And obviously, you got a new album coming out this Friday. Interesting title, and I just got to bring it up because it's one that I've been trying to remember. Night Parade of 100. I guess it's a bit of a conceptual kind of idea behind a Japanese legend. Can you tell me a little bit about where that sort of idea came from?
Well, we just started writing the record, just no thoughts, no idea. We were just in the room playing for the first time in months and months. So we're
Yeah.
just playing, and like this music started coming out, and we all had the same feel of like, oh, this sounds like like the Japanese bands that we loved and that were the catalyst in forming Earthless, like Flower Traveling Band and Blues Creation and Shinky Chin. Like there's just something about the music that was coming out of us at that time that was like, oh, this definitely feels like very Japanese, of like our big influences.
Mm.
So we're like, okay, this is cool. So we just developed the music more and more, and I'd say maybe somewhere halfway in between, of us working on the song at our leisurely pace. Mike came in, and him and his son were going through Japanese folklore books. His son is very much into the Japanese folk tales and all of that. And
Mm.
Mike, the bass player, he came and was like, hey, what about this? I prayed to 100 demons. He's told us the story. It's like, oh, that fits the music, of where the music is at right now. But and what it forced us to do is like, okay, well, let's paint a musical picture of the whole process of so it turned into us just writing music into like, oh, now we're gonna tell a story. Like here's where we're gonna jump on. So the gears shifted like halfway through.
Mm.
We started telling the story of like it's like this really peaceful village at sundown, and everything is nice. Everyone's having dinner, and it's just beautiful, serene imagery, very peaceful, like very major key and musically, just very happy. And then all of a sudden, boom, like the demons show up, and then that's when like minor key and really dark kind of evil sounding music begins, and then just starts musically explaining the whole rest of the story of them coming into town and people being afraid, and them marching down the street in their procession, and just all hell breaking loose, and everyone, I think everyone dies at the end. It sounds like to me everyone dies in the end. Everyone's fucked. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun to kind of latch on to an actual story and a folklore story, and kind of start composing to that. The music was already, well started, but
Mm.
yeah, I don't know, it just added something to everyone's kind of excitement of the song, and yeah, it just started to make more sense, and in a way that we've never really written before. We've never written to like, oh, this story, and then this composed to this idea. No, it's just like we composed to whatever,
Yeah,
just what
yeah.
we're feeling. So it was fun. It was a very fun process, and it's something we're all, very happy with the
It's
result.
obviously quite different to the previous album, Black Heaven, because that album, to me, when you compare that to a lot of Earthless records, that it was a little bit more, I guess, conventional in some sense, with a bit more structure and stuff. And this one was much more almost like organic, free flowing. I mean, you have the first song alone is like over 40 minutes. I mean, obviously, you guys kind of went on a tangent with that song and kind of just let things out naturally. Was
Yeah.
this album a bit of a reaction to Black Heaven at all, or was it just something that you wanted to go back to? Or
I mean, for me, as I tell people, it's like, for me, and it's something I discussed with the guys. It's like I wanted nothing more than to the record that came, whatever the record was going to be after Black Heaven. I wanted to go back to our old selves. Like, I want to do like the first two records, where it's just one song aside, on a
yeah,
record, just all instrumental, no vocals, nothing, just, and a lot of interplay, a lot of room for openness and improvisation. And we just did that, and they were on board too. I think they may have wanted the same thing. Because I mean, that to me, that's what Earthless is. It's those first couple records are, I think, our essence. That's us. And as time progressed, like, it's still us, but we got more into just doing something, breaking away from that, just for the sake of doing something different and challenging ourselves, and just for the sake of fun and having fun writing music and playing music, just no other reason. And then this was like, okay, we've done that. We wanted to make a different record. Don't want to do anything like Black Heaven anymore. It's like, well, let's go back to kind of like what we do. And it was great because it wasn't forced. Like, I guess in the back of my mind, it's like, I want to make an instrumental record, kind of like the epic long song, like 40 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. And it just naturally, it all worked out. It was just, wasn't a lot of, there was no pulling teeth whatsoever, which was cool.
yeah. Because of that, and obviously because of you're known among your fans for the kind of long instrumentals. Well, what kind of a feedback did you actually get initially on Black Heaven then?
I think it was mixed. I mean, there are people that were not happy, because it's like they want, they don't want vocals in Earthless, and I can totally I can totally understand that. I'm kind of in the same team,
Yeah.
most often, for sure. But and some people were fun. It's like, oh, that's cool, you're doing something different. And it was, again, Black Heaven, it turned out in a way that we weren't expecting. We had other instrumental songs that we were tracking in the studio, but they just didn't feel right. And so we're not going to release that. So we're like, well, fuck, we got all this other shit that we had been working on, and I guess the record's going to have 5 vocal tracks on it. I mean, we wanted to do something different from the previous records, but it was very, very different. And
Yeah.
I'm happy with the record, and like, it's fine by me. But I mean, I know what Earthless really is, and it's an instrumental band that jams a lot. That's what it is. So it's fun. It's just fun to do it because you want to do it, and that's the sole reason. And some people you're not going to please everybody or anybody.
Yeah.
We don't go into it like that. If we're happy with it, if we get a good feeling, then we're sure it's going to translate, and people are going to dig it. But yeah, if we're not happy with it, we're not going to release it. That's for sure.
And just on that note, then I had just read recently from Mike, who actually said in a recent interview that one of the riffs or some of the riffs on this album is actually goes back to the very early beginnings of Earthless,
Yeah.
and I guess that's kind of common because you must have a lot of riffs and ideas sort of lying around over the years. Which part of the album did the first riff come from?
Uh, that riff is it's on Night Parade. It's like the build up right before the middle section where it's very like rhythmic, dun, 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 like
Okay.
very tropical sounding. It's the riff. It's like do 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 do. That riff.
Okay, I'll have to re-listen to it again and find out.
Yeah, then it's that riff before the breakdown middle section. I think you'd flip the record over at that point.
Yeah.
So my and then it happens again at the very end of the song before like the really spastic freak
Oh
out.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
at the end. It's the riff right before that as well.
Okay,
And
cool.
we used to start our shows like with that riff, and we just never recorded it. Like we do like wash and jamming and then kind of break it down, and then Mike would start that bass line and we just play and jam on that for, I mean, we're talking like a long time ago. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we needed a part to bridge these two pieces together, and it just happened to work out. It was just Mike thought of it and it was like, oh, cool. And it's, a little nostalgia for ourselves, like something that finally makes it in, a song after 20 years.
Yeah, it must have been. I mean, has that happened before where you've had riffs and ideas and stuff sort of lying around for a long period of time and it kind of went into a song eventually?
I don't think so. I think most of everything else has kind of been written in kind of real time, written and used in real time. This is the only thing that I could think of that is from another kind of era or time of the band, and that was being used now. But no, we got like a 4-track cassette tape box full of just tons of shit that it would be great to go through and just be like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I don't know, maybe that's something we haven't written that way either, like going back in time and stuff. So that could be maybe next up on the agenda, just for fun, try different method.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting thing, I guess, to come up with a song and new ideas and stuff. But if you have so many ideas already sitting in the vault, it seems like it's a bit of a treasure trove, I guess. Because sometimes you might forget some of those ideas, I guess.
Yeah, totally. I mean, recording everything is pretty smart. That way you can go back and listen to it. I mean, now we got our phones, which is beyond convenient, and but yeah, there is like, I mean, it is like a box stacked full of cassette tapes from stuff 15 years ago that we haven't listened to since then. Yeah, and there's ideas, that stuff we do live that we never recorded, and those might find their way to, and we might bring it back to life. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because it is cool to have all this old stuff just sitting on. It'll be cool to go revisit, like actually genuinely really sit down and take it serious and listen to everything and just see if there's anything there. I don't know. It'd
Yeah,
be
cool.
fun.
Definitely. So what is the plan for 2022 for Earthless? So I guess you guys will be trying to hit the road as much as you can.
Yeah, we have stuff scheduled. We had stuff scheduled for this weekend, these next 2 weeks, but the COVID has postponed it. So we're looking maybe some gigs in February and April in the US, and then go to Europe in April and May. And I think at the end of the year, like do East Coast. And yeah, it's just filling in gaps. And I have other obligations too. So
Yeah,
it's trying to make it all work.
Yeah, cool. Well, congratulations on the new album. It's always great to hear some new Earthless music. I've been a big fan ever since I saw you guys many years ago down in Australia for your first tour. I think it was about 2012, 13, I think it was.
Yeah,
And
that's one of the, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great run of show. And you've been back a few times, obviously, since. It would be great to have you back, obviously, when things open up again, you know. So,
Can't fucking wait to come back to Australia. Like that's one of the places that we want to get out anywhere, but yeah, Australia, it's we love playing over there. It's always so good. It's
yeah.
always just so good. It's a wonderful place. So I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, anyway, thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate it. And good luck on the road. Hopefully everything works out for you.
Yeah, man. All the best to you as well. And yeah, I just hope things stay east and or fly over or whatever.
Yeah.